Finally getting his turn with the tune-up treatment, this starter to Medarots 3 and 4 is ready to make his mark once again as a member of the KBT family. It is KBT-05M Saikachis, REGRADED, with a kit of missile, rifle, Gatling, biped legs, and the leg ability of Gunman, which passively buffs the heat stat of equipped shooting skills just by having the legs equipped. Now, when it comes to all-rounders like KBT types, you really don't have to get much better than Saikachis in particular. While he may not bring a lot of power to the table, such as, say, Metabi or Bayonet, or even someone like Kaiser Beetle or Grand Beetle in some cases, Saikachis takes another approach to what he brings to the table as being able to transform and gain not just a secondary leg type, but also a very powerful two-turn skill that, when used correctly, can make him an absolute menace on the field, allowing you to alternate between all-roundedness and more dedicated shooting, depending on which form he's in. Missile on the head part is a gunpowder-based skill that that damages all parts equally when attacking the target, and thanks to Silent Leader, allows you to very easily flush out an enemy leader by damaging their head part with one use of this pretty quickly. Rifle on the left arm is a standard shooting skill that has incredible balance you can never ever go wrong with. It's a very well-rounded part, very good stats, and no major drawback or penalty on heat or cooldown means you can use it very quickly and very reliably. Left arm of Gatling is a scattered type of attack that will damage one part normally and then two others at random. This will allow him a little bit more of a diverse coverage with the all-round shooting kit that he brings to the table. Biped legs with Gunman also do tie into this remarkably well, as it means that he'll already get a very nice passive bonus to that, which guarantees that he'll be just a little bit quicker on the field compared to most, as long as that effect remains active. Saikachis is also capable of meta-changing into an alt mode, as you see here, changing his kit out entirely for missile, crossfire, set and release, wield type, leg type change to wield, and a leg ability of Abscond, which is a passive cooldown bonus just by having that particular ability equipped. Missile I don't need to go into explanation on because it's the same thing. It's a gunpowder skill that damages all parts equally, but Crossfire, Set, and Release is what Saikachis brings to the table to really help him stand apart. Crossfire Set is a setup-based skill that will put a turret on the field, very similarly to Repair Plan or First Aid or anything similar. While this turret is active, it will be actively searching out a target and ready to attack in tandem, where you use Crossfire Release. Crossfire Release is the second half of that equation and a shooting-based skill. As long as a turret remains on the field, it will allow you to unleash a very powerful shooting skill against the target of your choosing to unleash very high damage and high output to any enemy that does end up on the receiving end. The drawback, however, is that if there is no turret on the field to use, then Crossfire Release is guaranteed to fail every time until that turret is placed, meaning that it is a two-turn requirement as long as you are using it. Now, when it comes to tune-up treatments across the board, as the second ever model to get the tune-up treatment, I will be breaking him down one form at a time. Now, in terms of what his base form is capable of, he does have a number of really nice bonuses that don't really make or break Saikachis to a point, but they will also bolster his overall survivability, because compared to other models of the KBT family, he is kind of squishy, and he is pretty easy to take out or cripple, and breaking one part on him guarantees he can't use Crossfire, Set, or Release, and kind of hurts an overall majority of what he brings to the table. Head part of Missile has access to plus 300 to Armor, 200 to Power, and 100 to Cool. So very nice all-round stats there as well. I put Armor down for better survivability, but you can honestly go either direction based on what you want to go with. Right arm of Rifle has access to plus 300 to Armor, plus 200 to Power. Both of those are actually the same across both of his arms. The difference is Rifle gets a 30% damage bonus when piercing, and left arm of Gatling gets a plus 100 to Cool. Now, naturally, a lot of bonuses built towards survivability are going to be very solid options, so the more armor he has, the more tankier he gets, and a little easier for him to tank things without getting broken too easily. So for both his arms, I would have to give that bonus to armor as a definite must. For the rifle, I do have to give that bonus of the pierce damage bonus as an absolute requirement as well, because compared to most other rifles of the KBT family, Saikachis really doesn't focus too heavily on power, and his is actually one of the notably lower ones compared to even, say, standard Metabi, even pre-tune-up to a point, and he does kind of lack in that respect. So the extra bonus will count and really come to count when you are using that. Left arm of Gatling, you honestly could go cool or extra power either direction. I will kind of leave that to your own discretion, because both bonuses are pretty noticeable, and you can kind of break it down to if you want to hit harder or if you just want to have a faster cooldown and recharge, you can use something sooner. For legs, he has access to plus 200 to armor, plus 100 to mobility, and S rank on grassland or arena terrains. So naturally, in a lot of cases, I'm going to kind of skip over the terrain bonuses because he really doesn't need them, and they're really just going to be bumping an A rank into an S rank. But plus 200 to armor and especially plus 100 to mobility are definitely going to be very noticeable on the field. So while Saikachis might be particularly squishy, that extra speed bonus will really come in handy to guarantee that he may not hit nearly as hard, but he'll be able to cool down and prep attacks a lot faster, possibly even maybe outrunning slower targets so he can change and tank hits just a little easier. Now when he meta changes into his wheel-based mode is where he kind of changes things up just a little bit, but not in the most noticeable ways. In particular, across all three drives, he will have access to plus 100 to success, plus 100 to power, and plus 100 to heat and cool respectively. So naturally, plus 100 to power and the heat and cool is probably going to be the most notable bonuses on him in this respect, because his success stat is actually not too shabby already, and missile, when it's fully capped, already has a guaranteed hit rate anyway. So really all you'd want the success for if you go that direction is essentially just the higher success for higher crit chance. But at that point, I'd argue faster the higher base power for, say, crossfire set release and missile, and the heat and cool bonus will honestly pay off in the long run a lot easier, since those bonuses are a lot more noticeable. For legs, he has access to plus 200 each to his shoot and his melee resist for better damage reduction, plus 100 to mobility, and an S rank on city terrain. Now granted, even though he already is getting A rank on city terrain, it's going to kind of follow the same vein like I said with the biped legs on the wildlands field terrains. Even though it's not going to be required, it's nice to have, and given that he is a wheel-based model, means he's already going to be kind of hurting on a lot of terrains. So the more that he has S rank on, the better he gets. Same can be said for his mobility, which is already impressively high while in alt mode. The higher that goes, and I believe that would actually put him over 1,000 in a lot of respects once he is fully capped with that bonus. All this being said though, comparing his original pure set and mixed parts scores, I did originally grade Saikachis at a very well-rounded 7 out of 10 across the board, because he was a very solid model, very beginner-friendly, and he offers very well-rounded attacks and a very powerful one in his alt mode that you can use and exchange very freely because he does not require charge to change between both forms. The only real weaknesses he had was, like I said, he is remarkably squishy compared to most other models of the family, and he doesn't hit nearly as hard in crossfire set release. Taking his tune-up bonuses into effect and factoring them in, I would have to very easily bump him up to an 8 out of 10 across the board, either as mixed parts or as a pure set. He is still a very beginner-friendly model, so anyone can use him very quickly and very easily, and the ability to have that extra armor and some extra power to a point under his belt will give him just a little bit more in the survivability department that he was really hurting on before. And the extra power to crossfire set release means it's already going to be even more painful once he is able to unleash it, and that extra speed will definitely come in handy to guarantee he can fire it off a lot faster than he could before, as long as those tune-up effects are added to his roster.